better there for.
Call the meeting of the Leitchfield Utilities Commission to order for Thursday, January 18th, 2024. You have a draft of the minutes of our meeting conducted on January the 4th. If there are no additions or corrections, we'd entertain a motion to approve those. Motion by Mr. Jones, second by Mayor Miller. All in favor? Should be noted we do have a quorum with 3 of the 5. Mr. Bernard is absent this evening, out of town traveling on business. The next item is the approval and the ratification of the bill list. You've had that provided to you, or if there are no additions or questions on that, would entertain a motion to approve it.
So moved.
Motion by Mayor Miller, seconded by Mr. Jones. All in favor? All right. Next item is Brad. Thank you for coming, being with us this evening to provide us a natural gas department update. Kind of fitting, I guess, that you do it in the January meeting. This is when we're coldest time of the year, so that's when our most highest gas usage is, and we'll go over that in a minute. But I'll turn the floor over to you if you want to maybe go ahead and turn the mic on up here.
I think I already turned it
All
on,
right.
Brad. It's that green light on.
Green light, so. All right, I'll try not to keep y'all long. There is some things that I would like to go over with you. As far as the gas business, I think we're doing great. As far as installations go, new services, I can tell you that, total for 2023, we put in 73 gas services. We've, let's see here, he's probably 50 of those was in Edmonson County. 23 of those is in Leitchfield. So, Edmonson County's a booming. We have laid 16,000 feet, 16,221 feet of gas main over the past year. We've laid 9,580 feet of service lines, so we've been busy. I'm not going to touch on this very long, but just like I said, speaking of Brownsville, that's where the majority of the work is at. I can tell you that with what we're doing down there, the Middlebrook subdivision, the expansion part of Brownsville, what we've been working so much on down there, of the probably 40 homes that's probably actually being occupied right now in that subdivision. 34 of those we've put gas into. They still probably 150 or 70 homes in that subdivision to be built, and if everything keeps on like it is, then we're going to end up with a bunch of customers there, So it's doing good down there, and there is some talk of some potential increase in gas customers in Leitchfield. Kevin Brooks has helped us a little. His subdivision so far, he's put gas into everything. But we have a couple of big subdivisions coming up. I'm going to hand these to you guys just so you can look at them. Two different. There's a subdivision being developed on Sadler Road that got some notes on that somewhere. Well, you've seen it there. There's potentially 100 lots on Sadler Road. We have a gas main that's already adjoining the property. I've spoke with the developer. I've spoke with the I guess you'd call it the project manager. He was tickled to talk to me. I just spoke with him yesterday. I've been trying to look into this for a while, but he said, absolutely, we'd love to have gas back in there. 200, I think 60 or 70 something acre development there. So, and they're done starting on a small phase of it. I think 14 or 15 homes are they're gonna be building pretty quick. So, we're gonna keep our eyes on that, try to get in there if possible. Neil Harrison in Clarkson, he's bought Dave, that's up there by you, about a 60-acre tract of ground. Kind of goes out Barton Run Road, but again, we've got a 4-inch gas main that joins that property, and he's talking about 101, 111 lots, something like that there. If that goes through, I mean, he's in the works of, I think he's kind of waiting on Kendall Clemens to get some more survey work done, but he acts like he's wanting to start pretty quick, so.
Yeah, he's in the process.
That's what he acts like he's gonna be moving pretty quick with it, so that'll be great, and he's wanting gas back in there, so, I hope all that goes through.
Have you spoken with the pipeline folks and the suppliers about making sure that we're not, that we can handle that capacity and?
Yes, Clarkson is in much better shape than what it once was. Years ago, we used to have some issues with Clarkson with pressure getting low, but that was because we was kind of bottlenecked down with Mill Street, having a smaller gas line through a big portion of that. But when we put gas around the bypass from 259 to Walmart there, where we brought that 6-inch gas line around through there, and actually got a regulator station just on that line alone, which ties in with what's feeding Clarkson now. So Clarkson's in good shape. We got plenty of gas for that. Now the Sadler Road project there, we do have a 4-inch main on 187, and I will be crunching some of these numbers later on. Like I said, all this stuff is kind of come about kind of quick, but from the intersection of Sadler Road to where this property begins, which is, I don't know if you're familiar with Jamie Clark's, but it's kind of across the road from Jamie Clark's property there. There's a section through there we may have to jump down there at some point, and because it's just a 2-inch main that runs out through there, we may have to jump down there and relay a section of that with 4-inch to get that capacity up there to be able to handle that. But we're in good shape on them.
And there's no real capacity problems from the pipeline itself, say at Harned over to this way?
No, I think we're in pretty decent shape on that. Of course, as you all know, and I've looked at a lot of the old records and stuff in Jimmy's office since I've took that position, we've increased that pressure over the years a lot. The coldest day the other morning there was about 2 degrees, and we had 210 pound at the fairgrounds, and we leave Harned at 250 pound. So we're in pretty good shape on that. Now, that's great. I know we've lost some factories over the years, so if everything was up and going, I don't know what that might would look like. But I can tell you that if we ever was to get some bigger factories in here, why the MAOP, the maximum allowable operating pressure on that pipeline is 300 pound. So we still got 50 pound that we could increase that line if we had to, which would make a huge difference in what it would do. Of course, doing that, there's a lot involved with that, but they would have to be a lead survey performed on the whole stretch of the pipeline. But it's been done in the past for that very same reason, but I think we're in great shape, just judging by the pressures we've had during this cold spell. And I watched it last year, and I've never seen it under 200 pounds, so I think we're doing good capacity-wise on that. I'll just go over some things that's happened throughout the year. We recently updated our Kingswood regulator station. It was old. It's bad shape. These stations, I have to get these inspected every year. And it was just an eyesore. And actually, to inspect it correctly, there was no way to inspect it correctly. It was just kind of a cobbled up mess, and it needed to be fixed before we was to get rolled up on it or something. So we done that. I got some pictures that I'll see what we've done with that over there. That should be good from now on.
Do you know off the top of your head, or can you remind us how many customers we have along the line from our city gate over there to, say, town?
Well, I can tell you, I've not looked lately. Now, I read meters the first 2 years I worked here, which is almost 21 years ago, but at one time, from the fairgrounds to Harney, there was 340-something customers. Like I said, I don't know. I would guess that it was still around that, 250, 300 mark. It's not a whole, I mean, we've had customers come and go over there, over the years over there, but,
Do we have is there a pretty good concentration right there around Kingswood, or is it
That's
kind of
what
spread
that
out?
station's for. And one thing that helps Kingsville, what kills getting customers on that route over there is it being the steel, it being that high pressure steel pipeline. It's
Right.
costly. And all we do is just try to get our money back on putting the service in over there. But just doing that, our cost for putting the service in on that steel main is close to a couple $1,000. That's just,
Yeah.
But Kingswood itself, that station right there, the Kingswood community is all poly gas lines. So it's just a typical installation charge like we do here. But that's just the only area over there that we do have poly lines. But they's probably, when I read over there then, I think there's about 60, 65 customers, something like that in Kingswood. But Kingswood is, there's not a lot goes on over there, but there is toward the back of Kingswood, they have been some new homes being built back in there. So there is some potential over there for some more services at some point in time. There is, I don't know, this is just, I've not been able to really reach anybody on this yet, but there is some talk of somebody's developing some ground back in there. They're relocating some electric lines, and there's some talk of some kind of development going on back in there. I don't know if it's going to be something on the lake or if it's going to be a subdivision. Some of that lake stuff, we may not want to be in there with all the
Right.
rock
Well,
and everything.
just for the record, where does the line cross the lake exactly? I mean, is it?
Okay, well, at North Fork, if you're traveling from Leitchfield toward North Fork, the North Fork campground's there. It's on your right-hand side of the road right there. And, of course, Tom and Al's across the bridge. It pretty much goes from as soon as you turn in there, it runs alongside the bridge, of course, under the lake, and comes up there in front of the gas station there at Tom and Al's. Evely, if you're leaving Litchfield heading toward Evely, it's on the left-hand side of the road. Same thing, pretty much runs alongside the road. You can kind of see when you're coming from Brett County back toward Litchfield, if you pay attention when you're going through there, you'll see kind of a right-of-way cleared out where the gas line goes over the hill into the lake there. Hopefully we never have no leaks.
Right.
Those lake crossings, I don't know what anybody do on that. We had an inspection this year. That was my first go-around of being inspected by the state. It went a lot better than what I was expecting. Of course, that's, that was a good thing. They sent me a whole list of what they was going to be checking this on, and I was sick to my stomach for 2 or 3 days just dreading it, but it surprisingly went pretty good. The only violation we really had, and I think Lori and Jennifer and some of them was working on it, we got a violation on our drug and alcohol policy. Not being enough literature there, and they're kind of wanting a policy of its own rather than it being scattered all throughout the handbook, but we're addressing it. We've reached back out to them, and Lori and them's working on that.
Do you have any comment on that right at the moment?
Me.
Yes.
We are actually going to meet February 5th to start working on the personnel policy, and that is one of our first things Jennifer and I want to tackle, is getting that put into the policy to get them back into compliance with that.
Okay.
We had some, there was no violation on it, but at the time of the inspection, our cathodic protection readings, that's an electric charge we have on that steel gas main that runs from Leitchfield to Harnett. To keep it from corroding and rusting, we keep an electric charge on there that keeps us from having to deal with that. But the readings were, and part of that system were out of compliance. They was too low. And we done everything we know to do, and even some guys who helped keep us in compliance, USDI company we use, they had, it kind of had got to where they was at a loss of why the readings were so low. So we hired a outfit to do an investigation on that, and we found a few shorts at some meter sets, and we was able to fix those, get us back in compliance, but we're still on the low end of that. So during that inspection, they determined, and best I can tell, it's kind of I guess, the age of your pipeline kind of starts working against you over the years. But what they had found is testing indicated that the rectifier, we have 2 rectifier stations that put a charge on that line. One's out here by the radio station, one's over at Harnett. Just a rectifier on a utility pole, and it's tied into the pipeline, and it puts a charge on that line. But they had indicated that the rectifiers at each end of the main are unable to provide a significant amount of current to the main in the McDaniels area. The recommendations made to correct this situation are as follows. Need to consider the installation of a rectifier and anode bed in the area of 11525 South Highway 259. So they're basically saying that we need another rectifier station. An anode bed is part of a rectifier station. That's just another part of the. So I've got to look into that. I don't really know what kind of cost is involved with all that, but it is something. We're in compliance now, but it's something we're going to have to be looking into. And in doing that, we're going to have to find some ground to put the anode bed on. We don't have enough gas line right away to put in an anode bed what's required, So there's some homework to be done right there.
Best estimate, do you have any kind of idea what size amount of land you're talking about?
I don't know
I mean,
for sure.
It's just a small area though, right?
It's not, it's a small area. And again, I need to figure out, I need to do my homework on this a little bit more and see what kind of an area they're thinking about. I do know with the anode bed that is over at Westview, it's a pretty good sized bed. It's an area, about as big as this room, if I ain't mistaken. So it's not really something you can fit along your pipeline. You have to kind of get it off the right of way, off the road. But, that's that one. Things have changed over the years, so I don't know. They may be a more modern way of not using so much ground. But I'll be looking into that because that's our backbone of our system where we got to make sure we keep that thing. And that line is in good shape. Every time we've had welders come in and weld on it, they always brag on it. It's in pretty good shape, as old as it is. We've responded to 57 gas odor complaints over last year. We had 23. We have a leak survey every year. That leak survey, we have 23 above ground leaks, 5 underground leaks. The underground leaks they found were just simply grease fittings on valves leaking. They're old valves we dealt with for years. We had 5 gas dig-ins last year. So that's not too bad. Now, I want to kind of change gears a little bit and ask y'all to hear me out if you don't mind, because it's something that is starting to worry me somewhat. We just about got to the point in the gas department to where we're going to have some more help. And it's not something that, I'm saying has to be done all at once, because that's not really the way to do it, but it's something that we need to be thinking about, as time goes by, because we're covered up. I've got 3 men. I've got, one of them's new. He's not ever got his license yet, his gas certifications. He'll be getting those this year. But if I lose one guy right now, I'm down to one guy with the certification and other guys that don't have nothing yet. We're busy all year long with installations and gas mains, and it just causes us, we're just getting behind on general maintenance of things. And, from a safety aspect, it's just not good to get yourself in that kind of shape. I've made some notes here, and I just want y'all to know where I'm coming from, and I'll just kind of go over some of this. As you know, we got one truck, and we've got 3 guys and myself, and I'm finding myself helping the guys a lot more than what I don't mind helping the guys. I've done that for years, but I'm just saying I need to be in the office more often. I need to be tending to things that that the other guys don't really need to be fooling with, things I need to be keeping up on. We're stretched between 4 counties. We spend a lot of time in Edmonson County, and it don't matter where you're at. If you're in Breck County and something comes up in Edmonson County, why, your day's shot. Like I said, I got 2 guys that got their license. I'm gonna hand these out to you guys so you just kind of see where I'm coming from with some of this stuff. Just to give you a look through them all. It's basically all the same thing. We've got hundreds, and this is nothing new. This is, me and Jimmy talked about this for years, but they're just getting more serious about this stuff. We've got hundreds of abandoned risers. It's out there just waiting to be hit. We've probably got 100 of them on the high-pressure line in Breckinridge County, between Breck County and here. You're talking about 250 pounds of gas there. And any time one of those is hit, it's not good. We lose a whole bunch of gas in a short period of time, and there's no easy fix on them, on those when they get hit. There's a lot more abandoned risers in Leitchfield on the low pressure system on these poly lines. It's not such a big deal, but yet, when they're out there and they're being forgot about, if there's no meter hanging on them, nobody's seeing them. They're getting rolled up around, just waiting to be bush hogged. And a lot of our leaks, a lot of our emergency runs it's stuff like this, something like this gets hit. So we just need to be addressing that.
Do you have like a policy update that you think we need to adopt that says, like?
We did adopt a policy.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, we have an abandoned riser policy already that
Yeah,
we
and I forgot.
adopted it probably 3-4 years ago.
Yeah, it was something to the effect
Yeah.
of, I forgot how we'd offer them,
Yeah, we can look that up, but a certain period of time, if it's abandoned, we'll take it out unless you want to pay a monthly bill.
yes, I forgot it was.
Is basically what it says.
Yeah, but they was so many out there even before, I remember when we started that, there was so many out there even before that come into play. And like I said, even with that policy the way it is right now, it's hard for us to get out there and do that, because we're just so busy putting installations in.
If we remove one and somebody comes back and wants to reinstall it or build it or something like that, do we charge them as a new
Yeah.
service then?
Yeah, it's a new installation. And they have the option, if it sits there vacant, they have the option, if they think, well, we're going to put something there in a year, well, then you can start paying a monthly fee to keep it there,
keep it there, okay.
because.
And it's a little bit more tedious in Breck County because you have to, some of these risers, I don't know how you even go about getting hold of some of these people. Probably some people don't even know they're there. They've been there so long. But, like I said, a service over there, you definitely got to make that contact with somebody because to put it back, you're looking at a couple of grand, you know.
I think the bigger problem is in Breckenridge County on that, because like Brad said, they're on a high-pressure line.
Yeah.
If you hit those, you've got pounds coming through there, and you don't
got a lot
have
of
ounces. And we have that occasionally, and then, you know, a car hits them, and we have a hard time collecting on those, Dave.
Yeah, we've had a hard time with regard to that.
Yeah.
We've had a hard time even finding people.
Right.
Yeah, there's no start.
Take off, we don't even know who they
What
are.
amount of resources or time do you think it would take to clean up the high-pressure ones?
Well, I mean, it would take, without putting new installations, without putting them off, I mean, it takes a crew dedicated to doing that. What you're seeing there in those pictures I gave you, I was coming back from the station over the weekend, them's just ones I just
Yeah.
simply driving down the road spotted. They're more time consuming than what plastic is, they're more, you know, just simply because you gotta have so
Yeah.
much more, take so much more care when you're digging them up. They're steel, you're cutting a steel line in two, you're having to re-thread that steel. They're just more time consuming, a whole lot more, you gotta be a whole lot more, careful doing that. But I don't know, I mean, to get a count, I'd have to get it, you know, sure enough, go through there in one day or 1 week and see how many we got, to give you a better
Are there,
idea on that.
are there certified, I mean, gas certified contractors out there that we could hire to come in and do a project of doing some of that, or?
Yeah, there is. It's probably costly. There is. I mean, actually USDI, who we use for some things, they're our go-to people as far as when we put new services in. We use their welders. They're the ones who built the regulator station. They definitely do things like that. And there's other people, but that's the
Well,
biggie. That's the biggest concern.
Yeah.
Is all them. There's a lot more other things here that I can go over briefly, just telling you where I'm coming from, but
Right.
yes, that is a concern. I mean, that's,
Well, I'd like to see you follow up with Dwight and kind of come back to us with a recommendation, and I'd kind of like it to be along the lines like, okay, we need this much staff, or we can get by with a smaller amount of staff with doing some subcontract work.
Yeah.
Or kind of a combination of the two. In other words, don't try to staff up to where we do everything by ourselves, and then, you know, we have forever labor costs. But if
Well-
if we need to add a small amount of staff, but then yet do some subcontract work to get us caught up with the riser situation, and
yeah. I'll go over a few more things here and then
All right.
kind of tell you my thoughts on what's the problems and issues are with hiring, you know, people and all that. So like I said, we have all the old risers. We have right-of-ways that's growed up. Of course, we got the equipment to clean them. It's just a time thing. We've got our right-of-ways in decent shape as far as being able to get over most of them now. We get behind on them. They don't, most time now they grow up, we're dealing with saplings, you know. Still yet you want to keep them clean, but we do have some right-of-ways that at this point we've just never gotten to yet, that we're actually gonna have to go in there with saws and you know, probably work something out with the city, get their chipper truck or something. We got some that you just can't simply bush hog anymore. They just gotten that bad. We're gonna have to get those addressed because, you know, them trees and windstorms, tree blows over and uproots a gas line, and there you got a problem, you know. We got exposed gas mains. Again, I just grabbed these. Took a couple of pictures the other day of just a couple of known ones. Now, them right here, what you're seeing is the worst. We've got some in some creek crossing that the top of the gas main just kind of has been showing for years. We just kind of keep an eye on them, but we got some. There's one in that picture there in particular that we're gonna have to get serious about pretty soon, because just what you see right there is what's feeding Leitchfield. I mean, these 2,000 something customers on that pipe that you see exposed right there. it's, you know, the other one there is an 8-inch gas main in Brownsville that we've worked on numerous times, but it keeps exposing itself on us. We've tried different ways to address it, but I hadn't checked on the one in Brownsville for a long time. Thought I'd check it the other day, and sure enough, it's exposed again. We've got old steel. We get consistent call-ins of gas odors, various places, North Broadway Street, you know, at Walnut Street, at Market Street, at Jay Lofton's area. All these places here, I'm telling you, Lilac Road there at Broadway. We've got some old steel gas valves. They're just old. They've been there since '68. You grease them. They're good for a week or two. They start leaking again. Some things like that we really need to address. We got line markers. That's something when they inspect, you're supposed to be able, in rural areas, you're supposed to be able to see from one line marker to the next. And we're nowhere at that right now. They get mowed down every year. It's something you have to stay on top of all the time. Of course, you know, we have leak surveys every year. We'll have, you never know, it may anywhere from, it could be 5 leaks, they may find 30 leaks. That once you get that leak survey, once they do that leak survey, you've got 12 months. 12 months to get those leaks fixed, so that's something that has to be done. We got, and I'll hurry up here, we got 425 valves that we have to work every year. That takes time. You know, when you do that, you find valves that's covered up, so you have to go back and suck them out. They gotta be able to get on them, you know. We're pretty soon gonna be working on radio reads. We're switching from Census, or from Itron to Census. That takes manpower to get anything done. Tish, she's pretty much covered up what she does every day. Again, we got industrial meter sets that's getting age. All of our industrial, commercial stuff, a lot of it's getting age on it. I'm supposed to be out there checking these pressures on these things, and you know, we proof test meters every year, but you know, your pressures and stuff get out of whack. It affects your billing. You know, that's where our money's at. We want to make sure we stay on top of that stuff. It's just a lot of things to get behind on when you're staying so busy putting in new services. And as far as you know, hiring somebody, it's kind of tough. It's better now. I mean, with the raises that we worked on here lately, it does make it a little easier. But you know, with starting another crew, obviously, first thing you're gonna need is an operator. Well, you want an experienced operator. You don't want some guy out there who, yeah, I can dig. You don't want him out there digging around your gas lines, you know. And to get a good operator, you know, people pay for operators. I got lucky. We hired Chris Brooks here the other day, or back about a year ago, and had it not been for y'all working on the raises and stuff and allowing me to, you know, pay a little bit better, I probably wouldn't got him. But Chris is good. He's worked out good. All my guys are good, what I've got right now, but it's just hard to get these guys. You know, to start another crew, I almost at some point need to hire somebody to have that 4th guy in the truck, to be teaching him, because whenever we do go as far as hiring, you know, if we get another truck at some point and sure enough end up having another 3-man crew, you're gonna have to have somebody go with them other 2 guys who knows what they're doing. You can't just turn your guys out there, you know, in the dark and them not having no experience in any of this stuff. So it's kind of challenging. So that's what I agree 100%. We can't just buy a truck and hire 3 guys and say, we're ready. You know, it's not that easy, but it's something, it's a work in progress that we're gonna have to be thinking about. And finding good employees. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you, it's a whole different ballgame than what it was when I started. It's crazy to even think about. You know, they're out there, there's good employees out there, but these younger people that you want to hire, they're few and far between. You know, as far as these cell phones are a big headache. You don't want somebody who's just buried up in their cell phone all the time. It's just dangerous, you know. It's dangerous what we do. You want someone who takes accountability, someone who likes what they do, someone who's not just here for a paycheck, you know, because they're no good to you. You know, if you ain't got somebody who's willing to learn, we've got good guys right now. I'm just saying, that speaking from the past, you will go through some guys before you find somebody, unless you're lucky, you know. And things are getting costly, you know. Not only gas lines, the fiber lines they've put in the ground here lately, them things are costly. You hit a fiber line, I hit the last one we had to pay for, a phone line. That costed us about $5,000. That was a phone line. You hit a fiber line that size. I mean, that's something I was going to ask too, because just so I'll know, do we have any kind of insurance to cover a big hit like that? If we was to hit a big line like that was to get into, I mean, you very easily could be looking at, you know, $10,000 hit if you hit a big line.
I'm not sure what all their policy covers, but I mean, we have some liability coverage, but
Yeah.
We have liability coverage, and we also have coverage on our system.
Well, I just,
And so if you hit somebody else's line, we do have insurance. Of
Okay.
course, we've got a pretty high deductible too.
okay, well, that's just something that come to mind whenever I was doing all
We
this.
have the insurance, so.
Do you run into any problems, Brad, like where you've had 811 out? They're not marked correctly, or?
We have, and 811's been, man, there's been so many changes with that here lately. There for a while, especially during the COVID era there, that was back whenever I hit that line. Windstream is the worst. They have a lot of, and it's not Windstream, it's who they contract to do their line locating. They go through lots of people. What happens to us, and I'm sure other people, is it, you know, say it's the dead of summer, it's a drought, you're out there trying to lay a gas main out this portion of town, and Windstream will come out there and mark 5 or 6 lines. They'll tell you 3 of them we think is dead, but 2 of them's hot, you know. Well, you're supposed to hand dig whenever you're digging around their lines, you know. Well, it's in the middle of a drought, and you're digging up 3 other lines that are dead just to keep from hitting them.
Yeah.
You get aggravated. You know, it's 110 degrees out there, you're burning up, and you get braver on a piece of equipment trying to take more and stuff. Next thing you know, you hit one. Well, you don't hit the dead one, you hit the live one, you know. It's just the way it is. But we have started using our vac truck more often. That's one thing, we get that new vac truck, that will be helpful. We'll be using that. We'll be using that in Brick County a lot on these high pressure services, on these steel lines. That's a lifesaver. But it's just, there's a lot more fiber and phone lines and stuff out there than what they used to be. It's just something that we're having to deal with a whole lot more. We're having to take this 811 stuff a lot more serious than what we used to. They're a lot more serious about it than what they used to be, especially on the gas. And it sounds like it's coming to the water side of things soon. You know, these gas lines get hit. You know, if we mismark something, if we hit something, even if we hit our own line, it's $1,000. First blow on gas, it's $1,000. You hit it the second time, it's $2,000. Third time's $3,000. You know. Takes a year before that starts over from that last hit, you know, and it just, it's just a lot there. I know, it's like I told Dwight before, I don't want to be hollering at Dave all the time to try to help fight a gas line we've hit or something that's been hit, you know, it's just, and that goes back to, having good employees to take accountability, marking these lines and stuff like that. I mean, you know, if we're not marking our lines right, and you know, we get, a lot of times stuff gets hit, we get lucky, it's a little old line that we can get shut down pretty quick, do something with. But that one time that something in Breck County gets hit, or one of our big lines gets hit, you know, you may lose a big part of your profit that year. Could. You know, we've been lucky. You know, we ain't had no crazy hits, and the ones we've had, thankfully, it's been on someone else hitting us, but, that's about all I got. I just want you guys to know that we're getting stretched as far as, my 3 guys. I asked a lot of my guys, there's a lot of days that it's nasty outside, and normally, ideally, we probably wouldn't be out there working, but we're having to take advantage of every day we get to be. It's like I told someone before, someone made a comment to me one time, said that, well, you're in the utility business, you're always going to be behind. Well, there's a difference between being behind and not being able to keep up. You get to a point where you're not just behind, you're going backwards. And that's the way we're getting with our general maintenance of things. We put stuff on the back burner that used to, when we wasn't swamped with services all the time, put new installations in. These other things that I was talking to you about is what we done from day to day.
Right.
But now we've had, when people spend money for a gas service, then you're trying to get their service in, So just something for you guys to think about.
Well, Brad, first off, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for the report. I want to thank you for your efforts on a daily basis. Thanks for bringing these issues to us. I want you to know that the commission will be behind what we need to do to remedy anything that we've got going on here. Some of these are good problems to have, and then the fact that we are busy with gas installations. But as you said, we can't fall behind on the general maintenance. So
Right.
I think what I'm going to ask you to do in return is to prioritize these things,
Okay.
get it with Dwight, and get us a plan back as to how, this is our priorities and this is how we're going to take care of the situation. And try to have that back to us fairly quickly.
Okay.
So we can take action to move on it. What do you think is a reasonable timetable to have some of these things implemented, or some of these things, some of this research done?
I just gotta make myself fine, and I got some downtime now with the weather like it is. I will get with USDI, on some of these gas risers and what kind of cost might be associated with that, with them helping us. And I will also, look into the, issue with our cathodic protection in the rectifiers, and try to have that for you. It'd just be a shot in the dark for me to tell you something,
Yeah. Well, do you want to maybe, like I said, just meet with Dwight pretty quickly, and then he can bring it to us, or you can bring it back to us, and try to have us a plan maybe sometime in March
Okay,
to say, this is our priorities. This is how we think the best way to go about remedying these priorities, and this is kind of what it's going to cost.
Okay.
And,
and then like I said, you all have heard me out, but on that, sometime or other in the near future, if we're gonna think about hiring working our way toward getting another crew, we probably do need to be hiring a fourth guy at some point in time. And there'll be, me and Dwight have talked, there'll be times where that fourth guy may not be needed, an everyday thing out there as far as putting a service in or something. There'll be times when I can split them up, maybe put 2 guys here and 2 guys there on the same things, and get caught up on some things a little bit. But somebody does, and we have got our OQ, our gas certification is due this year for everybody. That comes around every 3 years as far as the whole shebang, what you need to be able to work on gas by yourself. So that will be, I think in May, sometime around May or June, if I ain't mistaken, when we generally do that. So ideally, it would be nice to have someone else by then to go ahead and get them certified and not having to wait that whole other year. Because if they're not certified, technically someone who is supposed to be watching everything they do and signing off on it. And we don't want to find ourselves.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your presentation. I think you've convinced us of our need to kind of follow up on that, and the need for some additional
Well, I appreciate
resources.
you guys.
Thank you again, and
Thank you, Brad.
thank the crew. The next item of business is the approval of the November 2023 financial statement. That was provided last meeting. Is there a motion to do that? Motion by Mr. Jones, second by Mayor Miller, and we're all in favor? The next item is under unfinished business. Thank Brad again for coming tonight, but the others have been scheduled. Ricky Luss from the wastewater treatment plant will be here at our April 5th meeting. David Rue from the utility shop will give us an update at the July 18th meeting, and Jim Milliner from the water treatment plant will be here in October. And again, I thank you all for doing these. I think it's something that's needed, and thanks for providing the public and us as the commission an update on each of these various departments, and it's a good routine that we've got going here on that. Under new business, I need a motion to approve Finance Officer Sabrina Whitaker. We've had a CD mature. It's about $143,000, and we're requesting to close that particular CD as it matured and use the money to open a new CD at a new rate and term. I think it's going to be a 13-month CD, but it's one of our replacement reserve funds, I think, so.
I'm not sure which one that is, Bob.
Anyway, she felt better that it would have a commission authority behind it rather than her just going and doing that on her own. So is there a motion to authorize Sabrina to do that? Motion by Mayor Miller, second by Mr. Jones. All in favor? The next item is there's a February chamber luncheon. That's February 8th. Let Lori know by the 5th. Is there any other business or other new business that we need to discuss this evening? One thing while we're on gas, I just kind of wanted to briefly mention it. I sent this to a few of you. The cold weather this week, the Texas Gas Pipeline issued what they call an OFO, or an operational flow order. So, we had to up our nominations along the pipeline. That's to, during periods of severely cold weather, they want to make sure that they're matching their deliveries and their thing for the safety of the pipeline itself, and you're talking about the whole length of it. So they issued that operational flow order, and I just wanted you to be aware of that. And what that means to us, though, is that we had to up our nominations. We did it for a 4-day period, and we'll be buying some gas at market price for those few days. So we'll have to wait till we get the final numbers on that, but I just wanted you to be aware of it. We didn't have to buy any today or tomorrow, but we may have to again. I think that they're talking about extending that order through Monday because of the cold weather this weekend, so we may end up having to increase nominations over the weekend, but doing that and even buying gas at the market, that's cheaper than us getting into a penalty situation for not complying with the order of the pipeline. So if you have any questions about that, you can get with me, and I'll probably refer you to Insight or Constellation, and they can obviously give you the more technical answers than I can, but just wanted you to be aware of that. Any other business? Entertain a motion to adjourn by Mayor Miller, seconded by Mr. Jones. All in favor? Aye.